How are you? Welcome back to the Scale Modelling Twins. Going to have a look at another kit today, something that looks quite exciting. Oh, I'm going to enjoy it anyway. This is Eduard's 1/48 scale Royal Aircraft Factory Se.5a, fitted with a Hispano Suiza engine. Now, got a couple of extras for this, a big Ed set and just the photo-etch to make it, well, convert it from the weekend edition to the Profi pack. So let's change the other camera. Let's have a look what's inside the box initially before we do the other stuff. So it's a 2018 release of a 2017 kit. So this one is just about to be re-released by Eduard, from what I understand. So I thought it's a good time to have a look at it. You have a booklet. We'll get back to that in a sec. Rather large decal sheet and two sprues and a packet of clear windscreens and everything else. So let's start with the windscreen. Actually, no, let's start with the book. Let's start with the book. Right, a bit of history of the aircraft at the front there. Parts map, the parts you don't use. There's not too many of them, but there's a couple of little details. Right, what's interesting about this one is it's quite detailed. I'll turn one light off, probably get a bit better that way. You build up all the internals, and gone are the days of having just a guy sitting on a seat, holding the stick like that, and an instrument panel, and that's all. This has got everything you'd want. So looks like that'd be probably the oil tank seat, the decal seat belt here for the weekend edition, the yoke and the rudder pedals. Top of the cage with a couple of gauges, probably altimeter, compass there. This is before the actual instrument panels at the front there. A couple more decals on the top there. So the instruments are around the sill. There's no actual sort of panel in front of the pilot. And this, the seat belt goes over the side. So you make up the cage. It's a wooden substructure for the pilot to sit in. Once all that's together, then you put bracing wires on that, the blue bits there diagonally. Fit that onto the center wing section, which is painted bits and pieces. So you've got that'll be it's a magazine. Oh, get rid of the glare. Magazine for the Vickers machine gun. You've got the oil pump, priming pump. You've got, again, that'll be the oil tank. The duct for getting rid of the spent casings for the Vickers machine gun. You've got a spare magazine for the top on the Lewis machine gun there. This one, oh, sorry, this does have an instrument panel. I'm wrong. But yeah, there's another spare magazine sitting on top there. Couple of bits on the inside. You've got sail colour up to there, wood colour for the rest of that, aluminium for the top and lower parts of the engine cradle, and all the centre wing with all the box and everything on it. Then, of course, let's move on to the engine. It's a V8, one of the first applications in an aircraft, getting rid of the rotary engines, which had a couple of handling sub sort of effects that weren't too great. There's a window, an inspection window, a couple other bits and pieces. Engine cowl, the engine pops in, the horizontal stab, the ailerons, inspection. These are clear parts to inspect the cables for the aileron control cables. Here we go. It's a Vickers machine gun. Goes in front of the pilot there on the side, on left-hand side. Inspection windows again for the elevator cables. The radiator, this is water-cooled V8, so the radiator on front there. Top cowl goes on top of that. Couple of small bits and pieces. More inspection windows for the upper surfaces. And then the top wing goes on the bottom, so you've got the cabane struts in the middle there, and of course the outer wing struts. Pitot probe on the outer surface in clean airflow. Throw together the undercarriage trapeze. I'll what's that? Long exhaust pipe to get the fumes out of the way of the pilot. Landing skid, rudder goes on. Yeah, an exhaust pipe down its side, being a V8. Couple of more little tiny control cables. You've got the Lewis machine gun fitting to the top of the wing there, sitting on top of the fuel tank. And choice of 2 or 4-bladed propeller. And the blue is the rigging. It's not too much of it, but yeah, it could be worse. And then it's another view showing from the bottom, yeah, how to do the rigging. So I'll be doing that. And you've got 2 paint options on this one. Now this one is flown by Major Dallas of 40 Squadron at Brouet Airfield in France, May 1918. Roderick Sandy Dallas, TSO and Bar, DSC, Croix de Guerre, Vec Palm, was born on, 1891 and at Mount Stanley, not far from Esk in Queensland, Australia. So then this could be one of the first instances of actual, what we'd now call OzCam, fitted to any sort of military vehicle. So that's pretty cool. And the other version is more of a traditional Se.5a. This one is Second Lieutenant Kenneth Williams Jr., 56 Squadron, Béziers in France, March 1918, and he was born in Toronto. Obviously the Canada one, not the one near Newcastle, the new Newcastle, just south of me in Australia, but this will be the Canadian guy. And that's a pretty cool scheme as well. The fact is I'd have trouble deciding between the two. So with all the bits and pieces on the inside there, it's quite detailed as you see. So once you get the cradle together and everything else, you're not going to see a lot. However, Eduard produced plastic kits to sell more of their PE sets. So I obviously wanted to do that because I enjoy it. I know it won't be seen, but that's not the point. For me, if it's enjoyable, I'll do it. So let's have a look at instructions for this one. These would be embellish what's already in the kit. So what I'm going to do is fold it in half that way, just so it's easier to hold and see. Okay, there we go. This is easier to see than the last one because it's not glary. The decal seatbelt gets replaced by a photo-etch one. That's pretty cool. You have a choice, either a simple lap harness or you've got a 4-point harness. Yeah, whichever one you want to do. Got the fire buttons for the guns in the center of the yoke. So you take out the red is remove, so it has to be removed. It's the original triggers. Replace that with a photo etch part. This would be the compass and probably a clock or something or other. Certainly 2 instruments around the top frame there. Throttles, it looks like. Bend them up, stick them on. A trim lever goes down near the pilot's left knee. This is the Vickers machine gun. You put a sight on the top there and the cocking handle. Other details in the center in front of the pilot, so between the pilot's legs. So you cut away this is another magazine holder for the Vickers machine gun. It's like a Tommy gun, so it's a rotary magazine. Cut away the red part there, replace it with a bent up photo etch part and the lid over the top of that. The instrument panel with separate instruments all over. You take all the detail off the one supplied in the kit, put all this stuff around it. You've got another magazine there. This one goes on top of the instrument panel, so that then the box replaces a magazine that goes on top of the instrument panel there, and you've got one on the floor. Got a bit of bracing just underneath the engine. It's a panel there. Another throttle condition lever. This is the inspection window, a little sort of bit of riveting that goes around it. And this is a gun sight. So it's a support for the gun sight for aiming the guns. Obviously, yeah. So there's the lower gun there is the Vickers one in front of the pilot and the one on the upper wing. And going over the page, getting into these are mainly all braces for the ailerons and the elevators. So the elevators there, rudder. This is replacing the detail around the magazines for the Vickers machine gun. Exhaust pipe mounting bracket, Vickers cocking handle, and more of the braces. So that's all the photo etch for the, let's see, yeah, do you see at the top, Se.5a weekend edition. So all that little stuff there. You got the instrument panel. It's printed in color. You got a couple of choice of seat belts there. You've got, yeah, all the little tiny bits and pieces there. And you don't have to use all of it. You can use what you want. I'm going to use all of it because I like a challenge. So I got all that, and then I've also bought the Big Sin kit for it. So what this has is replaces the guns, the propeller, the 4-blade propeller, the radiator, wheels, and more seat belts, which won't be needed because I've got them on the other frame. But having a closer look at what's in here. All right, propeller, guns, wheels, radiator. So we'll start with seat belts. They're actually printed nicer than the other photo-etch ones, so I could well use them after all. Let's comparing the two. Yeah, they're a nicer colour. The ones on this one have more of a purple end to them, whereas these ones are more. It's like a red leather. Well, let me take it out of that. Have a proper look. Okay. Right. So these instructions would be rather straightforward. It's basically, yep, use these on the seat. Let's have a look anyway. Yep, use these on the seat. This one doesn't give you a choice. This is just the lap harness. So, but as I was talking about color, it's those two there. You can see, yeah, one it looks a lot more like natural leather, and the other one, it's purple, which would be a treated leather possibly, but yeah, I'll use the red brown one on this side. Okay, so they're the seat belts. In no particular order. Oh, actually, the order I pull them out. So these are the replacement wheels. This is saying you've got, yeah, right, let me get that out. So you've got a couple of things here. So what we have are two resin wheels to replace the plastic ones. We'll compare them to the plastic in a moment. You have a mask set for painting the wheels. And you have a decal set for, ooh, they're hard to see. Oh, you can see them. They're there. So printed on there is the, what's printed on the wheels, which is Palmer Cord Aero tire, 700 by 70. So that's a nice bit of detail. So yeah, it's a decal sheet and its stuff. The masks are simply just a sheet of 4 round ones, but yeah, it's all 4 sides of the wheel. So you paint those, all of it like a light dull grey because rubber wasn't black back then. Then you mask up the center and mask the outside, paint the center with those masks. So let's compare those to what's in the kit. Right. Admittedly, there's probably not much difference. You tell me. Okay, so that's the back of it. And they look pretty similar. The front of it is quite a bit more detail, but you know, whether it's worth doing remains to be seen. But yeah, that is nicer. I'll turn it around so it's facing the same way. Well, come on. There we go. Focus. Yeah, that is nicer. Yeah. And then once you have the decal on the tire, yeah, that's worth the addition. So there, the wheels Next set. This is a propeller. It's a 4-blade option. So the parts you get are resin prop, resin boss, and a couple of bits of brass. Basically, it's fitted as you would, yeah, behind, yeah, you got the boss, the prop, and just, I guess, a washer. Okay, so that's the propeller boss. Oh, yeah, that's pretty nice. Got the brass washer at the back, which is simply just flat on both sides. Nice and clean. And the 4-blade resin propeller to replace one in the kit, which looks very nice as well. But let's compare that to what's in the kit. So this one has 3 propellers in it. You've got a double paddle with round ends. You got the double with flatter, thinner ends, which was blued out, I believe. One of these isn't used on either of these 2 builds. And then you've got the 4-blade one over here. Now, that looks quite nice in its own right. But compared to the resin one, let's have a look. Again, whether it's worth doing. You know, it's scalloped more. It's got more of a twist on the end of the blades because it can be. The limitations of the mold with the styrene and everything else. The resin one has more of a twist on the blades, which is, that would lift it. I don't know if anybody would notice, but it does look nice. Yeah, it's got more of a 3D element, so that's got a really nice feel to it as well. So that's the propeller. Radiator replacement. So this has a resin radiator, 3 extra cooling bars that go on it, and then a sheet of photo etch, bit of a grill. So same deal. This, yeah, you put photo etch screen on the front of the resin, a little bar across the center there, PE3, goes under the propeller, and then you make up the the cooling, well, the bars, more of the radiator there that sticks over that, and put it in place with another bit of brass that goes underneath the propeller shaft. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. We have the resin radiator. Which one's the front of it? This is the front of it there. It's very thin center that gets sliced out. Then if that's the front of it there. So the photo etch grill, very small holes there. These are the bits that go underneath the propeller shaft. The fact is, I don't know what they do, but come on, there we go. And then you got a couple of the bracket that goes across underneath the propeller there, and you have a couple of spares of those if they go missing. Ping, that's nice. You got the cooling bars themselves, the core radiator. Yeah, finely molded. It's all very thin. Go on, there we go. Yeah, they look very nice. And your photo etch. Oh no, that's for the bit we haven't seen yet. That's the set for the guns. So moving on to the guns, we've got two guns here. So you got the one on the upper wing, which is a Vickers. Sorry, this one's a Vickers machine gun, which sits well, it's like the left shoulder of the pilot on a frame, and then this is Lewis gun on its Fraser mounting bracket. Obviously, it goes up to shoot, but then when he needs to reload it with these magazines, he releases a catch. It slides back down so he can get it in front of him. From what I understand, they'd trouble with these because they would release a magazine and the wind would just blow it off into their face if they weren't careful with that. Quite a few pieces on this. Yeah, mainly all resin with the photo etch frame that I accidentally showed you a moment ago. So let's have a look at all this. Oh, instructions first. Right. So number one, you've got these have got the frames to build up the magazine holders, and you have a choice of magazines, whether they be a single or a double. So again, your choice. So that's the one that sits above the instrument panel in front of the pilot. You got the mount, a resin mount to support the Vickers machine gun in front of the pilot. And then sheet 3, or in step 3, you're fitting the replacement cocking handle in the back of the gun, mounting the resin gun into its cradle in front of the pilot there. And then you've got a heat shield at like a deflector, if you like. The gun sight is replaced with resin part. Got another, well, part of the gun sight, you're lining that rear part up with the center of the crosshairs. And then the upper gun, you have, again, a choice of magazines, all the pieces that go together to make up the gun, fitting it onto the Fraser bracket, mounting bracket. Little piece of wire hanging off the back there to cock it, so and then mount that on the wing. So let's look at the parts, and then we'll compare these to the plastic as well. Right, so in no particular order, let's start with the guns then. So this is a Vickers. So it doesn't have a photo etch air cooling shroud around the muzzle, but that's the, yeah, up to the muzzle and then the breech mechanism at the back there. They look rather nice, quite delicate. This is the Lewis machine gun, nice and small. The choice of magazines, these are all resin again, so there's quite a lovely bit of detail there. Mind you, these things are getting quite small, so would you tell whether these are the resin ones fitted or the ones supplied in the kit? I don't really know. I will find out shortly. Let's see. Fraser mounting bracket. Cut that away from the armature and replace the one on the upper wing with that. Looks very nice. What's that? That's a mounting bracket for the Lewis. Wrong. I keep on saying it wrong. The Vickers machine gun in front of the pilot. So that's sitting the way it would be mounted. There's a tripod arrangement that way. And the gun facing that way. And then these are the sights. Again, these are tiny. So yeah, might have a bit of fun fitting those. Now, how do they compare with what's in the kit? Let's see if we can find the guns. Doesn't seem to be on that bracket. Not immediately obvious. Well, it must be because it's certainly not on that sprue. All right, while we're here, let's do the plastic. So the upper wing has the fuel tank in the center of the wing there, the bit that doesn't have the ribs. It's got a little bit of plumbing, but yeah, part of the mechanism there. The upper and lower wings are single piece. You've got the inspection windows on the wingtips, and you can see there's the bell crank pulley. Focus in there for the cable that actuates the ailerons. See, yeah, ailerons there, rudder there, elevators, horizontal stab. See rear support. The waste chute for the depleted rounds of the lower gun. Yeah. Fuselages have quite a lovely bit of stitching and detail on those. This looks like a lovely kit. Same deal with the other side. That'll come up to rather well. Got the engine, components there. Most of these will be in a shroud. You won't see them unless you have a panel removed or something or other. Getting the smaller bits. Okay, now looking for the guns. Okay, we've got that's the Vickers machine gun there in the center of the screen. So how does that compare with the resin one? Well, it's in two parts, remember. So yeah, once it's painted, you may not tell a difference. It is sharper detail, but just like coat of paint, you may not tell a difference there, to be honest. And let's see, the top wing machine gun must be somewhere here. It's quite small, I know. It's that size, so looking around for it. I should get the number from the instructions, shouldn't I? Ah, there it is. It's already on the mount. Okay. Oh, knock that. Let's try again. All right. Yeah. Admittedly, much of a muchness, to be honest, isn't it? I think. Oh, and then let's compare the two mounting brackets. Yeah. Again, you may not tell a difference. I'll certainly be using them. Looks like fun. So that's it. That's pretty much it. So as I said, I've got lots of little bits and pieces. This is the 48 scale Eduard Royal Aircraft Factory Se.5a with the Hispano Suiza engine, the original one before they changed over to the Wolseley Viper, which is a more reliable engine. So this will be, if Eduard re-releases, it'll be two kits. One will be the Hissy, one will be the Wolseley, or the Viper as they call it. Looks like an interesting plane. It's very different from the Camel. From what I'm reading, this was generally considered the Spitfire of World War One, meaning it was, it was easier to fly, easier to maintain, produced in numbers. In fact, it's got the numbers here. Produced in high quantities by 6 manufacturers: Vickers, Austin Motors, Air Navigation and Engineering Company, and Wolseley Motors Limited, Martinside, and the Royal Aircraft Factory. And the American Curtiss Airplane and Motor Company built one of them, as production of some 1,000 aircraft was considered there, but they didn't do that. So, big sort of effort building all these aircraft, having them available. It is a very interesting looking kit, lots of interesting parts, and I think having all the extra bit, the brass in and all the resin it's going to be a lot of fun. Of the two versions, I still don't know which one I'm going to build. So if you have a preference, which one you'd see like, which one you would like to see made up, leave a answer in the comments there. I'm happy to do either one. So we've got an Australian one there. Just go Australian or Canadian will be the easiest way to consider the difference. But yeah, I'm looking forward to building this one. It does look very interesting. Anyway, thanks for tuning in again, and we'll see you for another review shortly, I hope. Bye.